Young will take a roll call, see if a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please respond. The proxy for Walter Burchard, please.
Aye.
Sherry. Okay. Chelsea Fenton.
Present.
Thank you. Beverly Chanowski.
Present.
Thank you. Eric Massey.
Present.
Thank you. Tom Ekron. Reed Burrell.
Present.
Thank you. Mike Esquivel.
Present. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Ortiz. Mark Ortiz. Anita Lee. Salvador Portillo. Dan Cisco. Hondo Judd.
Here.
Thank you. Megan Sheldon.
Present.
Thank you. Monica Rabb. Spencer Camps. Rick Williams.
Present.
Thank you. Kim Butler.
Present.
Thank you. Nicole Clements. Michael Baez. Jennifer Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. Katrina Gerster.
Present.
Thank you. Rupesh Patel. Benjamin Davis. Ryan Templeton.
Present.
Thank you. Justin Surianata. Brody Lynn.
Present.
Thank you. Christina Hopez.
Present.
Thank you. Aaron Daughtery. Arden Holloway.
Present.
Thank you. Gregory Arrington. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair, we have a quorum.
A quorum is now present. Good afternoon, members of the MAG Air Quality Technical Advisory Committee. This meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking. For those participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you would like to comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form. MAG staff can assist with any questions you may have. If you have parked in the garage, a validation stamp is available on the counter. If you have purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. Our next item is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, informational items or items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience unless I request an exception to this limit. I have received no requests to speak for the call to the audience. MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with committee members in advance of the meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. MAG staff, have we received any online written comments for the call to the audience?
Mr. Vice Chair, we have received no written comments for the call to the audience.
Our next item is approval of the August 28, 2025 meeting minutes. Does any member of the committee have questions? Hearing none, prior to approval of the meeting minutes, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. I have received no requests to speak for this agenda item. MAG staff, have we received any online written comments for this item?
Mr. Vice Chair, no written comments have been received.
Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 3?
I'll make a motion. Gregory Arrington from Youngtown.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion. Rick Williams, City of Maricopa.
We have a motion from Gregory and a second from Rick. A roll call will be taken at this time by Lisa Young.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members of the committee, when I called your name, please state your vote. Sherry for American Lung Association. Chelsea Fenton,
Approve.
thank you. Beverly Chanowski,
Aye.
thank you. Eric Massey,
Aye.
thank you. Tom Ekron,
Aye.
thank you. Reed Burrell,
Aye.
thank you. Mike Esquivel,
Aye. Thank you.
thank you. Mark Ortiz, Dan Cisco, Hondo Judd,
Aye.
thank you. Megan Sheldon,
Aye.
thank you. Monica Rabb, Spencer Camps, Rick Williams,
Aye.
thank you. Kim Butler,
Aye.
thank you. Nicole Clements, Michael Baez, Jennifer Peterson,
Aye.
thank you. Katrina Gerster,
Aye.
thank you. Rupesh Patel, Benjamin Davis, Ryan Templeton,
Aye.
thank you. Justin Serenata,
Aye.
thank you. Brody Lynn,
Aye.
thank you. Mr. Vice Chair,
Aye.
thank you. Christina Hopez,
Aye.
thank you. Aaron Daughtery,
Aye.
thank you. Arden Holloway,
Aye.
thank you. Gregory Arrington, thank you. Mr. Vice Chair, we have approval.
Number 4, draft MAG conformity analysis for the draft FY 2026 through 2030 MAG Transportation Improvement Program and draft Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan update. This item is on the agenda for action and will be presented by Dean Giles, Maricopa Association of Governments.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the committee. MAG has conducted a conformity analysis for the draft fiscal year 2026 to 2030 MAG Transportation Improvement Program and draft Momentum 2050 Regional Transportation Plan update. This presentation provides some background on transportation conformity and conformity requirements, the results of the regional emissions analysis, and agency comments received. The Clean Air Act links transportation and air quality and requires that transportation plans, programs, and projects conform to the purpose of air quality plans. This ensures that transportation activities do not cause violations of air quality standards. And it's in the regional air quality plans that set the motor vehicle emissions budget that we use in transportation conformity. And finally, conformity is necessary for transportation projects in the draft TIP and draft RTP update to proceed. The EPA transportation conformity regulations establish the criteria and procedures for making conformity determinations. EPA conformity regulations require that all major transportation projects be included in the Transportation Improvement Program and RTP, that the TIP and RTP must pass the conformity emissions tests using motor vehicle emissions budgets that have been approved or found to be adequate by EPA for transportation conformity purposes, or in areas without motor vehicle emissions budgets, interim emissions tests. The latest planning assumptions and emissions models must be used. And those that are in force at the time that the conformity analysis begins. The TIP and RTP must provide for the timely implementation of transportation control measures. And then finally, interagency consultation. MAG conducts interagency consultation with local, state, and federal transportation and air quality agencies. And on September 9th, 2025, a 30-day agency and public review and comment period began on the draft conformity analysis, the draft TIP, and draft RTP update, with comments requested by October 10th, 2025. MAG received comments from EPA Region 9, which I'll cover a little bit later in the presentation. In this conformity analysis, MAG includes an expanded planning area boundary in Pinal County that covers Pinal County PM10 and PM2.5 non-attainment areas. Both the MAG and Sun Corridor MPO completely cover these non-attainment areas. And the Sun Corridor MPO is also conducting a conformity analysis on an amendment to their transportation improvement program. And so MAG has prepared the conformity analysis to help the Sun Corridor MPO. In the next figure, this map shows the air quality areas in Maricopa and Pinal counties. MAG and the Sun Corridor MPO include portions of Pinal County PM10 non-attainment area that are shown here on the map, outlined in a thick red border, and also the PM2.5 non-attainment area that's shown here on the map in the red crosshatch area. The next set of slides provide the results of the regional emissions analysis for the Maricopa non-attainment areas. First, for 8-hour ozone, the required conformity test uses the EPA-approved motor vehicle emissions budgets for VOC and NOx established in the MAG 2017 8-hour ozone moderate area plan. And as you can see in this chart, the projected VOC emissions from implementation of the draft TIP and draft RTP update for each of the analysis years are less than the 2017 VOC budget. The budget is shown in the yellow bar, and then each of the analysis years is shown in blue. On to NOx. So for the projected NOx emissions for each from implementation of the draft TIP and draft RTP update for all 4 analysis years, they are less than the 2017 NOx budget. And for PM10, the required conformity test uses the EPA-approved motor vehicle emissions budgets. There are 2 budgets, one established in the MAG 2012 5% plan for PM10, and the other one in the revised MAG 1999 serious area particulate plan for PM10. The projected PM10 emissions from implementation of the draft TIP and draft RTP update for all 4 analysis years are less than the 2006 PM10 budget and the 2012 PM10 budget. This chart presents the total funding programmed in the draft TIP for TCMs. The majority of these projects support measures in air quality plans and go above and beyond commitments made in those plans. The draft TIP and regional transportation plan, based on this amount of funding in the TIP, do not interfere with the timely implementation of transportation control measures in those air quality plans. The next slides provide the regional emissions analysis results for Pinal County PM10 and PM2.5 non-attainment areas. Since there are no adequate or approved motor vehicle emissions budgets, the interim emissions tests were performed. And for the PM10, for each of the analysis years of 2030, 2040, and 2050, the projected emissions for the action scenario, also referred to as an action or build scenario, are not greater than the projected emissions for the baseline or the no build scenario. The action scenario here is shown in the blue, and the baseline scenario is shown in the yellow. For the Pinal County PM 2.5 non-attainment area, the interim emissions test was conducted for PM 2.5 and nitrogen oxides. For each of the analysis years, the projected emissions are action scenario are not greater than the projected emissions for the baseline scenario. And for NOx, for each of the analysis years, the projected emissions for the action scenario are not greater than the projected emissions for the baseline scenario. The results of the regional emissions analysis indicates that the draft TIP and draft regional transportation plan update satisfy the conformity tests conducted for the Maricopa and Pinal County non-attainment areas, and a finding of conformity is supported. Before I go on to the conformity schedule, I'm just going to highlight the comments received from EPA Region 9 on the draft conformity analysis and the MAG responses. There were two comments. The first comment was, can you clarify what is meant by center lane additions in this context, and why they are appropriate to exclude from the transportation network modeling? And so we brought in the experts in the transportation modeling area. And so in our response, we indicated that the center lane additions refer to continuous left turn lanes that are located in the center of most arterial surface streets in the region. These are not coded in the transportation networks because center lane additions function as a left turn lane and are not striped as through lanes available for motor vehicle use. They do not add any significant additional roadway capacity to the network. And in the last comment, why are regionally significant projects opened by December 31st, 2024 included by those that were open to traffic up to the date of modeling? And in our response, in our partial response, and the key part here, we replied that in the final report, we will clarify that the transportation modeling for the draft MAG conformity analysis includes regionally significant highway projects open to traffic by December 31st, 2024, and regionally significant projects, regardless of funding source, that met one of the following criteria: were under construction, undergoing right-of-way acquisition by the scheduled start of the conformity analysis on June 27th, 2025, or regionally significant projects included in the baseline scenario for the previous conformity analysis conducted in June 2025. So those were the comments that we had received. And then going forward with the conformity schedule, with today's approval of the finding of conformity, this item would go for the management committee recommendation on November 12th, and then on to regional council for their possible approval of the finding of conformity on December 3rd, 2025. And Mr. Vice Chair, that completes my presentation.
Thank you, Dean. Do any members have questions or comments? Thank you. Katrina?
Yeah, thank you, Vice Chair. You had noted that the 2017 budget for VOC and Knox was based on the 2008 standard. Will there be an updated budget for the 2015 standard?
I believe there will be, yes, going forward.
Okay.
But we can't use a submitted air quality plan.
Mm-hmm.
We can use a motor vehicle emissions budget that's been found to be adequate or approved in an air quality plan for conformity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Prior to voting, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on agenda item 4. I have received no request to speak for this agenda item. MAG staff, have we received any online written comments for agenda item number 4?
Mr. Vice Chair, no written comments were received.
Is there a motion to recommend approval of the finding of conformity for the draft fiscal year 2026 to 2030 MAG Transportation Improvement Program and draft Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan Update?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Justin, so you're not a second?
We have a motion from Katrina and a second from Justin. A roll call vote will be taken at this time by Lisa Young.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please state your vote. American Lung Association. Chelsea Fenton.
Aye.
Thank you. Beverly Chanowski.
Aye.
Thank you. Eric. Murphy.
Aye.
Thank you. Tom Ekron.
Aye.
Thank you. Reed Burrell.
Aye.
Thank you. Mike Esquivel.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Ortiz. Hondo Judd.
Aye.
Thank you. Megan Sheldon.
Aye.
Megan. Thank you. Monica Rabb. Rick Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Kim Butler.
Aye.
Thank you. Michael Baez.
Aye.
Thank you. Jennifer Peterson.
Aye.
Thank you. Katrina Gerster.
Aye.
Thank you. Rupesh Patel. Ryan Templeton.
Aye.
Thank you. Justin Serenata.
Aye.
Thank you. Brody Lynn.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Thank you, Christina Lopez.
Aye.
Thank you, Aaron Daughtery.
Aye.
Thank you, Arden Holloway.
Aye.
Thank you, Gregory Arrington. Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Mr. Vice Chair, the motion passes.
Agenda item 5, evaluation of proposed PM10 certified street sweeper projects for FY 2026 CMAQ funding. This item is on the agenda for information, discussion, and action, and will be presented by Dean Giles, Maricopa Association of Governments.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the committee. On August 21st, 2025, MAG released a call for projects for PM10 certified street sweeper projects for fiscal year 2026 CMAQ funding. Applications were due by September 25th, and 21 applications were evaluated requesting $8.36 million in CMAQ funding. Currently, there's $1.4 million in CMAQ funding in the MAG Transportation Improvement Program. MAG staff has conducted an evaluation of the project applications, and this was done using the data provided in the project applications and applying the MAG CMAQ methodologies. And the result is an estimate of the PM10 emission reductions in kilograms per day. And the CMAQ score, which is also the cost effectiveness, which is done by dividing the annualized CMAQ cost by the annual emission reduction. And included in your materials for today's meeting was the list of street sweepers in descending order of cost effectiveness. So you'll see for each of the project applications, the daily emission reduction in kilograms per day and the cost effectiveness. Also on October 14th, the MAG Street Committee met to conduct a review of the street sweeper applications. And at that meeting, clarifying comments and responses were made from the agencies on their applications. These applications were with regard to increased sweeping frequency for both the Guadalupe applications and the Scottsdale number 2 application. MAG had provided the responses in the materials, and then yesterday we received additional information, and so we emailed that out to the committee members for your review and consideration. So the schedule going forward after today, this would be going to the MAG Management Committee for the meeting on November 12th, followed by the MAG Transportation Policy Committee on November 18th. And then the last meeting would be for the MAG Regional Council to take approval of the prioritized list of proposed street sweeper projects for fiscal year 2026 CMAQ funding on December 3rd, 2025. Today, the committee is being requested to recommend a prioritized list of proposed PM10 certified street sweeper projects for fiscal year 2026 CMAQ funding to the MAG Management Committee, and to retain the prioritized list for any additional fiscal year 2026 CMAQ funds that may become available due to closeout or additional funding received by the region. Mr. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dean. Do any members have questions or comments? Prior to voting, there is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on agenda item number 5. I have received no requests to speak for this agenda item. MAG staff, have we received any online written comments for agenda item number 5?
Mr. Vice Chair, no written comments were received.
Is there a motion to recommend a prioritized list of proposed PM10 certified street sweeper projects for FY 2026 CMAQ funding to the MAG Management Committee and to retain the prioritized list for any additional FY 2026 CMAQ funds that may become available due to closeout or additional funding received by this region?
This is Ryan Templeton. I so propose.
Do we have a second?
This is Megan Sheldon, City of Glendale. I second.
We have a motion from Ryan and a second from Megan. A roll call vote will be taken at this time by Lisa Young.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please state your vote. American Lung Association. Chelsea Fenton.
Aye.
Thank you, Beverly Chanowski.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric Massey.
Aye.
Thank you, Tom Ekron.
Aye.
Thank you, Reed Burrell.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike Escobar.
Aye.
Thank you, Mark Ortiz.
Aye.
Thank you, Hondo Judd.
Aye.
Thank you, Megan Sheldon.
Aye.
Thank you, Monica Rabb. Kim Butler.
Aye.
Thank you, Michael Baez. Thank you, Jennifer Peterson.
Aye.
Thank you, Katrina Gerster.
Aye.
Thank you, Rupesh Patel. Ryan Templeton.
Aye.
Thank you, Justin Surinata.
Aye.
Thank you, Brody Lynn.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Thank you, Christina Hopez.
Aye.
Thank you, Aaron Daughtery.
Aye.
Thank you, Arden Holloway.
Aye.
Thank you, Gregory Arrington. Rick Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Mr. Vice Chair, we have a unanimous vote for approval.
Agenda item number 6, Valley Metro 2025 Transportation Demand Management Survey Results. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Abigail Cooksey Williams, Valley Metro, and Kathy DeBoer, West Group Research.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to join you for today. The Commute Solutions team at Valley Metro supports Valley employers and transportation coordinators in the implementation of their state-mandated travel reduction programs. And every year, as part of our grant agreement with our partners, we contract with West Group to conduct an annual survey that measures commute mode shifts and examines residents' opinions on alternative modes and schedules, air quality, and traffic to determine marketing strategies and measure awareness and effectiveness of programs and services. We appreciate the opportunity to share the most recent survey data today, and I'm happy to turn it over to Kathy DeBoer from West Group to share some high points from the overall results. Kathy?
Thank you, Abby. Much appreciated. Mr. Vice Chair and members of the committee, again, thank you for allowing us to make this annual presentation of the survey results. So first slide, please. Let's go to the next one. As Abby mentioned, this survey is conducted every year, and we have since like 1990 conducted some version of this. We have a total sample of 402 interviews, which gives us a total margin of error of plus or minus 4.9% at the 95% level of confidence. We divide the sample between 100 non-employed residents and then 302 employed residents. The reason for the skew toward employed is because it is a commute survey, and so we really want to have a larger sample size with a higher degree of reliability as we understand how area employees are commuting to the workplace, but we also want representation from non-employed residents regarding their trips and responses to the campaigns that are out there to encourage alternate mode usage. The survey respondents were nearly split 50-50 male-female. We are also monitored for age and other quotas for representation of the sample throughout the Maricopa County area. The surveys are conducted using telephone and online methodologies, and this was conducted in the spring. And when possible and comparable, we present the historical data as well. Next slide. We begin the survey by asking residents to talk about the most important or the major issue they feel is facing the valley. And we do this every year just to understand exactly where people's concerns are, just regarding life in general, and just to give us perspective on what may be influencing their decisions on how they commute. This year, we saw a resurgence in concerns about the economy and unemployment, and there is a corresponding decrease in concerns about air quality and transportation growth. There was a lot of things that kind of moved around, and that happens every year. It's always an interesting insight into what is going on in our area of the world. Next slide, please. When we specifically look at air quality and transportation growth, as mentioned, we dropped from 35% down to 27%, listing it as a major issue. There was a decrease in concerns over traffic congestion, but we saw an increase in concerns over air quality. And then fewer concerns about transportation or transit in general. Next slide. So we also asked a series of questions about traffic congestion overall, their personal experience with traffic congestion, and then their perceived perception of air quality in the valley. And you see that the perception of valley traffic congestion overall hovers right around the 90%, classifying it as a big or moderate problem. What has changed in the past few years since COVID is that we've seen a resurgence now in the last 2 years of people personally experiencing more traffic congestion than they had in 21 through 23. And as you'll see as we go through the data, that part of this is because more and more people are going back to the workplace as opposed from working from home, at least on a part-time basis. So they are out and about more, and so they are going to be experiencing more congestion on their commute because they are actually physically getting into their car commuting. There's also an increase in concern over air quality, and we see this not only in this rating, but as I mentioned, when we asked unaided what was a major issue, folks also increased their mentions of air quality. So there is a growing concern at this point about the perceived air quality in the valley. Next slide. When looking at the advertising awareness for Valley Metro advertising, we are sitting at 29%, which continues the trend that we saw in 2024 with almost 30% recalling at least some advertising for Valley Metro in the past year. Residents continue to hold very favorable opinions about any ads that encourage alternate mode usage. And you see 80% say that they are very or somewhat favorable reactions towards those types of ads. And then we had a specific recall asking, did they see any online advertising that encouraged drivers to visit sharetheride.com? And that has been slowly increasing over the last few years, and it was at 30% this year as it was at last year as well. Next slide. So we look at the mode of travel in two different ways, both as a percentage of people, asking in general what percent of people use each of the different modes. And these obviously will add to more than 100% because people can use multiple modes to commute during the course of a week. And then the second, which we'll look at shortly, is the percent of trips. And those will then add up to 100% because each mode accounts for a single trip in the calculations. So what we saw this year is that there was a move up again in terms of single occupant vehicle usage, up to 77% from 69% saying they used a single occupant vehicle at least one day a week. This year, again, is up to 77%, but you'll see in terms of total alternate mode usage, there was just a slight slippage from 62% down to 60%, which means that there is a more combination usage going on, and I'll have another slide to show that, but it doesn't mean that people have switched from alternate mode usage. They are just using more a combination of single occupant vehicles and alternate modes. The mode most common, as we see, driving alone at and motorcycles at 77%. Again, it's the highest that we've seen since 2021. Carpooling is at 15%, and then you see the other modes there. Telework continues to decline. We reached a high of 51% in 2021, and that has slowly declined down to 29% this year. And then compressed work schedule had a little bit of a bounce back this year, up to 15%. Next slide. So as I mentioned, that the shift that we're seeing there is encapsulated in that box, that the shift has hit the some alternate mode usage band. You can see in 2020, where everybody was working from home, only we had 31% indicating that they always drive alone, which was the lowest we'd ever seen, with 47% always working from home or using an alternate mode. And what has varied is not the always drive alone. That has stayed in the 30 to 40% range, but what has varied is the percentage of those either using some alternate mode or those always using an alternate mode. And the shift that we have been seeing over the last few years is that people have turned away from just exclusively being able to work from home or use an alternate mode to now employing what we call the mix, so that they're driving alone sometimes, but then they're also using some alternate modes. But fewer are being able to only use an alternate mode. But those are still a very delightful trends compared to our historical norms. Next slide. This is the mode of travel as the percent of trips. As I mentioned, these do add to 100%. So we had 63% of the trips made being attributed to a single occupant vehicle, which is up then from 53%, which we had last year. And correspondingly, the number of alternate mode trips dropped down to 37% from 47% last year. And those decreases came in the number of trips being attributed to walking and the number of non-trips made from because of telework, and that went down continuously in the last 45 years, down to 16% of the trips. But at the same point, the total alternate mode usage is still at levels higher than the pre-COVID levels. Next slide. Looking at the large versus small organizations, and this is as percent of people, you could, again, just reflected the 79% of those at larger employers indicating that they are using a single occupant vehicle at least one day a week, compared to 72% of those working for small organizations. Traditional alternate mode use, which at 24%, which means those who use the bus, bike, carpool, and walking, those are the ones that we consider traditional alternate modes. Among the smalls at 33%, and then slightly higher alternate mode usage among large companies when you take into telecommuting and compressed work schedules at 61%, and at small companies at 58%. And that is typically what we see simply because larger employers are more likely to allow those compressed work schedules and telework, whereas typically that is not an option available to many small employers. Next slide. When asked why they use an alternate mode for their commute, saving gas and money and convenience are almost always at the top of the list. But we did see some increased mentions this year about that they're not enjoying the driving, and others are just doing it because they they enjoy the alternate mode experience, whether it's carpooling or taking public transit. Next slide. Looking at the share the ride awareness and willingness to use an online matching system, you can see that the awareness of the online matching system offered by Valley Metro has stayed consistent. We are sitting at 18% this year being aware. And again, 60% indicated they would consider an online matching system to help them find carpool cooperation from other employed residents. Next slide. Then this measures just how much their employers are involved in encouraging alternate mode usage. And we've continued to see a decline in the awareness that employers have a transportation coordinator. But at the same point, they do recognize that their employer provides alternate mode use resources. And part of this we are thinking is that that comes from fewer employees being communicated with in an office environment and seeing signs and interacting with an actual person. But in regards to nowadays, a lot of stuff is just going out via electronic communications. And so they aren't as aware of a person, but they are recognizing that their employer both provides resources, and then a third of the residents are saying that their employer provides actual encouragement on alternate mode usage as well. Next slide. So the ways that employers can encourage alternate mode usage, incentives is obviously the most popular and most effective, but they also provide assistance in setting up carpools. They're providing information, subsidies, all of those different options that they that can encourage employees to not drive alone. Next slide. So what they look for most at the work site is they would love to have information on carpool matching or carpool information. Obviously, it's the most convenient to carpool with people who are going to the same work site. So often that's comes in through the employer. They are looking for information on transit, bus schedules, light rail information, passes, anything that can help them understand the transit system better. Then there was an increase in mentions about information on incentives offered. So if they are definitely looking and would love to see if their employer is offering an incentive on using an alternate mode. Next slide. We ask a series of questions. I'm asking folks to indicate how likely each of these 8 or 9 messages would encourage them to use an alternate mode. The 2 that stayed at the top this year are saving money and reducing air pollution. And I think it's consistent with the data we saw at the very beginning of the survey, where people have an increased concern over air pollution and listed that as a bigger problem than they have in the past. So it's not surprising that if they can do something to help reduce that air pollution, that would make sense. And then saving money is historically always at the top of the pile. But we did see decreases in concerns over more specific things like improving the environment, saving time, reducing stress. But what's probably most interesting here is just that saving money and helping the air quality are at the top of those messaging points that will help encourage alternate mode usage. Next slide. So our conclusions is that residents, employed residents, and students are continuing to return to old commute patterns, and more importantly, probably their employers are beginning to let slide back from their push toward working from home and starting encouraging and requiring employed residents to make the trip into the office. But the good news there is that we are still seeing that those numbers are higher than what they were pre-COVID, and so that some of those trends are still have taken hold and are holding true after 5 years. There has been a slight resurgence in interest in carpooling and van pooling, as I'm sure gas prices are increasing and impacting that. So there continues to be options and opportunity there. And as I noted just recently, that the concerns over air quality remain high among the Arizona residents. Next slide. So again, they're not currently using alternate modes as often, but they are more willing than they have. In the past 4 years, they are looking for transit improvements, carpool interests. So there are opportunities there to help and encourage increased usage. And the awareness of Valley Metro messaging and news stories again remains elevated, particularly with younger residents that are seeing the online advertising, and that is having has a favorable impact on their perceptions as well. That is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Kathy and Abigail. Do any members have questions or comments?
I'll jump in.
Go ahead,
Thank you, Vice
Christina.
Chair. What can we as individual cities or as a region do to help increase the switch to alternative mode users?
As far as the messaging, or are you speaking specifically as an employer? Or can you?
Know that we, the city of Phoenix, we have a transportation coordinator, we push our TRP program.
Yes.
But beyond that, what can we do as cities or employers, either way?
Right. Probably one of the most effective ways is just modeling, encouraging alternative modes, making those available to your employees, which I know the city of Phoenix does a great job with. You have a very robust transportation coordinator and a great program there. So I think just continuing to support alternative messaging for your employees and supporting programs like Share the Ride and just continuing to push out education and information about the benefits that it provides.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Thank you again, Kathy and Abigail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7, Consumer Fireworks Education and Awareness Campaign Update. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Matt Poppin and Lori King, Maricopa Association of Governments.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the Air Quality Technical Advisory Committee. Before I kind of get into and hand the baton over to Lori, who's going to really talk about our consumer fireworks education and awareness, I kind of want to give some background as to why this is an issue for our region. If you remember back on January 1st of this year, when we pulled up the PM 2.5 readings across the nation, we found that we had the worst air quality in the nation on January 1st, 2025. And just as a reminder, PM 2.5 is those fine particulates often associated with smoke and combustion processes. And those are the ones that can easily get lodged into your lungs and cause health issues. This is a map from EPA Air Now that lists all of the PM 2.5 monitors across the nation, several hundred of them. Green and yellow dots indicate monitors that are below the EPA daily standard of 35 micrograms per cubic meter. And you can see in the Phoenix area, we have several dots that are in the red, indicating very high PM 2.5 values. So as I mentioned, the West Phoenix monitor in particular had the worst daily concentration at 258 micrograms, which is nearly 30 times the annual standard. When you convert that value to EPA's air quality index, which is a way to sort of convert the technical value of the concentration into something the public can better understand, EPA lists this as a hazardous level of concentration. What this means is that EPA expects that at this level, everyone is going to experience health effects if you are outside during this time, not just those who are predisposed or the children or the elderly, but everyone would have some level of health effects when the concentrations are this high. EPA also operates monitors across the world at U.S. embassies. And when we compared the values that we had, we found that we had the third worst in the world, according to data available from EPA Air Now, which is pretty staggering as well. So we have about 8 monitors that monitor PM 2.5 up here in Maricopa County. And you can see 4 of them were in the top 15 with West Phoenix. And again, air quality index values of hazardous or very unhealthy to unhealthy. And just to kind of put that into context, when we have like ozone exceedances or days when we go over the ozone standard, 95% of them are just in that unhealthy for sensitive group category. So an air quality index of 150 or less. So this is really kind of pretty staggering levels of pollution that we're experiencing. So how do we know that it's consumer fireworks? That's really the issue here. So one of the best data points that we have is we have hourly PM 2.5 data that tells the story of what's happening throughout the day. So on this graphic, we're looking at a 3-day period with each of those panels representing one 24-hour period. And the first thing I'm going to do is put that daily standard up here of 35 micrograms. So that's on average, you're supposed to be below that standard for a given day. When you look at we often have common exceedances over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Usually when families get together, that's often when they'll choose to do wood burning. And so residential wood burning has long been an issue. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with the no burn campaigns that Maricopa County has done for a long time, no burn days. And so when we look at those hourly concentrations, we can kind of see what we expect to see. So as people start to gather for Christmas Eve around 6 p.m., fireplaces light up and you start to see an exceedance. And in fact, we did exceed on Christmas Day due to residential wood burning and mainly from the overnight use of wood burning into the following day. We also have that temperature aversion effect in the evening, which keeps pollution trapped closer to the surface. And then you can see when you move into the day after Christmas, that trend basically goes away and it's flat. When we looked at New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and the day after, the pattern becomes really striking. You can see this massive increase of PM 2.5 hourly concentrations from about 8 p.m. when it's dark outside, people go outside and light their consumer fireworks in their driveways and their cul-de-sacs. And this is when you really get these extreme levels of PM 2.5 pollution. And again, I can't emphasize enough how high these are. And this is just the additional impact from consumer fireworks. This is, equivalent to smoking cigarettes in some situations. So these are very high levels of concentration if you are outside at this time. And it really is unhealthy to be outside when concentrations are this high. One of the other things that we look at that shows it's fireworks that's causing the issues is there's a lot of metals in fireworks that's used to produce those pretty colors and to accelerate the burning process. And so we have at West Phoenix, we put out a monitor. It's called a chemical speciation monitor that collects data on a filter. We send that off to a laboratory and they analyze what type of elements are on that filter. And so when you look at Christmas Day compared to New Year's Day, you can see order of magnitude increases in these metals. So that's obviously a clear indicator of consumer fireworks usage. And on top of the PM 2.5 air quality health disbenefits that we see during this time, a lot of these metals are toxics as well. So you're starting to get into the realm of cancer-causing pollutants as well, not just simply difficulty with air breathing. Things like chromium is really some very dangerous that you don't want to be breathing in as well. So with that, we presented this at the Regional Council meeting in January of this year, and they really asked us to do a public awareness campaign on this, and I'll hand it over to Lori to walk you through that.
Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, it's a pleasure to be here today. And I like to start by just reflecting on Matt. The meeting that he just spoke of on January 22nd to Regional Council, it was met with a lot of passion and energy around not only absorbing this information, but making sure that this information gets out to the public. And so we were asked to develop a strategy, including a public awareness campaign, to address the dangers and effects of consumer fireworks on our air quality and public safety. So the strategy that we developed is threefold. First, elicit emotion. Second, inspire change. And third, enable sharing. To elicit emotion, we really decided to go back to what Regional Council showed us after they heard this information for the first time. And the first thing was shock. We had the third worst air quality in the world. A shocking statement. Second, concern around air quality has a direct effect on my health and the health of those that I care about. To inspire change, we need to change the mindset around consumer fireworks. Fireworks are fun, they're beautiful, but fireworks emit chemicals and particulates into the air that are harmful when breathed. And finally, we need to be able to make that information shareable. So coming up with ways to make it understandable, as well as you can package it and deliver it to somebody else so that they can also be informed. To elicit emotion, we received a lot of feedback from our member agencies that they wanted choices on how to do that. And so we provided 3 options. We have option of whoa, oh, and uh-oh. So the whoa is our lead choice. This is the one that we came out of the gate with because it provides the hardest punch. We believe that it makes the biggest statement. So today I present to you, fireworks are breathtaking. Next is a bit of a softer approach, but it is still instructive. Warning, sound the alarm about the other dangers of fireworks. And finally, we worked with Maricopa County and are continuing to work with Maricopa County around their Clean Air Make More campaign and include fireworks into that campaign. And so their campaign is a bit more comprehensive in the issue. They don't just address fireworks as an air quality issue. They also address it as a problem for pets, as well as those with noise sensitivity. So when inspiring change, we do that by providing more information. So once we stop the scroll with an image that is very eye-catching and provoking, we're providing text that gives more information about what we're talking about. So in this case, it says consumer fireworks explode with pollutants that can damage the lungs. Please stop or reduce use. And then very importantly, a call to action, learn more at azmag.gov/fireworks. Sometimes these will be links, sometimes these will be QR codes, depending on if it's print or if it's digital. So we are still in draft form with the webpage. It will be live next Wednesday. And so the page starts with the information that you just heard today from Matt, giving the facts about what happens in our region when we use consumer fireworks. Finally, to enable sharing, we have created materials and resources for our local agencies to use to raise public awareness. We've packaged together the facts and data, talking points, print materials, social media, digital ads, sample news release, sample blog posts, you name it, we got it, you can use it. And that also is all going to be on that website at azmag.gov/fireworks. So our next steps are we are meeting with the member agency communication staff. We have a meeting next Wednesday that all comms staff members have been invited to. And during that meeting, we, along with our partner at Maricopa County, are going to talk about the resources that we have put together and the strategies. I learned today that Maricopa County has a very comprehensive plan of public appearances on television, radio, and we are going to be working with them. They will be using the call to action to our website in those appearances. And so we're looking forward to that partnership. And with that, we look forward to partnering with you all to get the word out.
Thank you, Matt and Lori. Do any members have questions or comments?
And thank you, Vice Chair. I think this is a great idea. Let's say in a motion. Will the outreach material be available in English and Spanish?
Some of it, yes. I would say there is a specific Spanish social media plan that is being made from our office. I'm not sure what the member agencies are doing, but the short answer is yes.
Okay,
But
great.
not everything, but most things.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair, excuse me, we have positive reactions by claps online.
Do we have any other further questions or comments?
Great presentation. Looking forward to the next one. I know my council is extremely concerned.
Encourage your comm staff to join. I do know City of Phoenix and City of Mesa, I think both have people who have responded that they are coming. So you're good. Okay. Is we you?
No, I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation.
Okay, you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
All right.
Council, this has been an issue in our town.
Okay,
You just gave them more leverage. Appreciate it.
excellent.
Yeah.
Information, because the information.
Gregory, can I have you use the microphone and just kind of summarize that again so folks online can hear? Okay, you're done. All right.
No, this has been an issue in Youngtown for many years, and we've tried to address it because of the pet issue. And this information just adds to the challenges associated with fireworks that I'm going to share with my council immediately when I get back. We have a special meeting tonight, and I'm going to share this with them. So we definitely want to be a part of this. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you again, guys. Agenda number 8. Are there any requests from the membership for an item on a future agenda? Hearing none. The next meeting of the Air Quality Technical Advisory Committee will be on Thursday, December 4th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. With no further business, today's meeting is adjourned.